Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles this video, but we're going to talk about Jon Stewart. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jon Stewart coming back to The Daily Show as host. And trust me, this is all about getting eyeballs and ad revenue. That's why he's coming back. Now, the weird thing is I don't think Jon Stewart's quite the same person he was when he left. I think some of his opinions have changed. I don't know. I mean, he dared criticize some of the decisions during the lockdown. And so he might not be exactly the same, but we're going to talk about this because this is basically desperate legacy media trying to get as much money out of this election cycle as they can. And we did a video earlier today talking about how many news outlets are laying people off and how the ad revenue's down, and bringing Jon Stewart back to The Daily Show is probably a Hail Mary pass for them. Now, he's not going to be back full time. I guess it's just Mondays. It said Mondays. But yeah, there's going to be a record spend this year for the election. $15.9 billion in U.S. political ad spending expected for 2024. And Geeky actually theorized that the reason Jezebel, the website Jezebel, found an owner at all, because they were going to shut it down, but Pace Magazine bought it and they wanted to buy it for politics. And they're probably buying it on the cheap just to juice it this year for election ad money, and then they're just going to dump it after the election's over. You know, make their money back and then some, maybe, and whatever. But let's talk about this, because everything's burning, right? CNN is burning, and it's just all burning down. Everything's burning down. This is going to be a really weird year, guys. This is a year of fundamental change in media and entertainment, and I don't know if it's going to be better or worse. I really don't know what's going to happen. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, no woohoos in this video. Geeky's not feeling well. She's sitting this one out. I don't think she really cares. But this comes from The Hollywood Reporter. Jon Stewart is returning to The Daily Show as host. The Comedy Central series will have Stewart back on Mondays, relying on the newsroom of correspondents to lead the show for the remainder of the week through the 2024 election. So they're getting him back on Mondays. Jon Stewart's back at The Daily Show after a year-long search for Trevor Noah's replacement. The longtime host and Noah's predecessor has agreed to return on Monday nights through the election. Again, to juice it for ad revenue, because the ad rates are going to be good. And Mondays apparently are pretty good. I don't know. The news set up a major coup for the show and for parent company Paramount, which needs all the money it can get right now. They're laying people off. Is set to begin on February 12th. For the remainder of the week, the Comedy Central series is going to rely on a team of correspondents that nobody cares about. The move comes after Stewart prematurely exited his Apple TV Plus show, The Problem, following creative differences between the iPhone maker and the host over potential topics and guests. My recollection is they did not like him being critical of China. I think that's what the problem was. If I remember, I didn't follow this super close, but I think it was he was critical of China, and they did not want him to be critical of China, considering where Apple makes all of its iPhones. Stewart is the voice of our generation, and we're honored to have him return to Comedy Central's The Daily Show to help us all make sense of the insanity and division roiling the country as we enter the election season. Oh, just wait. Just wait. It's going to get so much worse. It is. In our age of staggering hypocrisy and performative politics, Jon is the perfect person to puncture the empty rhetoric of one side of the aisle and provide much needed clarity with his brilliant wit. He is not the same person he was when he left, though. I am wondering if we're going to get, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm wondering if we're going to get like a Bill Maher type situation where Jon Stewart comes back. He's not the Jon Stewart they were expecting. He says some stuff that pisses some people off, and then they try to get him canceled. Not the network, but social media. I am wondering, because he has said some stuff that I would say is more conservative leaning in the last year or two, especially when it comes to the pandemic and the lockdowns and the origins of a certain virus. He's been pretty vocal about that. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting if he does a Bill Maher heel turn and this doesn't go the way they expect it to go. But who knows? If he doesn't want to lose another show, he might just mind his manners. Stewart said on X, formerly Twitter, "Friends, after much reflection, I've decided to enter the transfer portal for my last year of eligibility. Excited for the future." Good luck with that. Allowing him to return for just one night a week, and notably at the top of the week to set the agenda, likely made it considerably more appealing to Stewart, who was vocal about his level of exhaustion by the end of his initial run. And unlike his more earnest Apple show, which was conceived as a current affairs series that tackles a single issue or problem, like China, the Daily Show platform allows him to be more topical and thus more relevant, they said, particularly as the election cycle heats up. It's the heat cycle. His new incarnation, Stewart is also expected to be actively involved in shaping new talent for the show, as he'd done for many years before. Decision makers at Paramount never anticipated being in a position to bring Stewart back, but Trevor Noah announced abruptly in late September he'll be exiting the series, leaving those responsible for the Daily Show little time to come up with ratings. Long-term game plan. So yeah, if it doesn't work, you gotta bring back what works. And this is what it's about right here, guys. $15.9 billion in political ad spending. $15.9 billion. And Paramount's desperate. Let's not forget how desperate Paramount is. They're laying off a bunch of people. They're talking about getting sold off to Skydance or whoever, Warner Brothers. They were going to maybe merge with Warner Brothers. That was a possibility. They're very, very desperate right now. I mean, as much as they say they hate Trump, they kind of need Trump for outrage dollars, don't they? Everybody's like, oh, we hate him so much. But hey, we really like to talk about him because, that money's looking pretty good. CNN, they basically made a living off of dunking on Trump, MSNBC. And when he was gone, things got boring, didn't they? The news cycle is very, very boring. They always had to find a reason. Then they tried to find a new Trump. They're like, well, DeSantis is new Trump. Sure, we'll just talk about that, So they have to find a big bad. They got to have a villain. They got to have somebody that people, is polarizing because, again, love him or hate him, it's good for business. And these dying legacy media outlets need as much business as they can get. The worst case scenario for them actually would be if Trump does not get the nomination and they can't talk about him. If it's some more middle of the road Republican candidate, and it's like, yeah, this person's really boring. We can't really talk about them because they're boring. They're too boring to talk about. Shit, what are we gonna do? We can't have a boring Republican candidate. We gotta have a villain. We gotta have a super villain. Damn it. There go all of our plans for the year. But I think that's it. And maybe they did bring him back just because they're like, yep, looking like Trump's back on the menu, boys. Let's bring Jon Stewart in. Let's get some of that $15.9 billion. Put that in our pockets this year. And so it's going to be a really interesting year, guys, for sure. And I don't know, are you down for more of the outrage? I mean, God, aren't you? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the constant, polarization of news media. It used to be pretty middle of the road for the most part. I mean, every outlet had its biases, but not like it's been the last couple of years. It's like you're either a red outlet or you're a blue outlet. There is no in between. We don't have enough purple. Outlets. Anyway, and purple is the color of frustration. We all know that, right? Purple is the color of frustration. I'm going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.